We've collected data on leafhoppers, and we've covered thrips and aphids, and that's where our app is really going to help with the hemp farmers.
That's Daniel Lirette. He's the founder and CEO of GrowDoc, a Canadian company that makes an app to help you diagnose pest and disease issues on your cannabis plants. This is the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. My name is Eric Herlock, and today I'll talk to Daniel about the app, how it works, why he made it, what the U.S. hemp industry looks like from his perspective in Canada, plus a whole lot more. First, we'll have a few sponsor messages, then maybe some nuggets of hemp news, and then we'll get into my conversation with Daniel Lirette from GrowDoc. While other banks turn hemp businesses away, JBT provides account services and solutions designed to help grow your hemp business with access to JBT's cannabis banking department. JBT's team of experts has the experience, knowledge, and commitment to support both industrial hemp and medical marijuana businesses. Find out more by visiting jbt.bank and clicking Cannabis-related businesses under the Business Banking tab. Again, the website is jbt.bank, member FDIC. This episode is also brought to you in part by IND Hemp in Fort Benton, Montana, where their mission is to provide innovative agricultural products and services to connect American farmers with the pioneers and businesses that see hemp as a way to bring real and lasting change to our communities and planet. IND Hemp. Okay, we're getting back into the swing of things here on the show again with a few nuggets of hemp news. This story comes from northcentralpa.com. It says the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture says they're now taking applications for permits to grow or process hemp in the 2022 season. Grower applications for commercial use or research are due by April 1st, 2022. The department accepts processor permit applications year-round. Ag Secretary Russ Redding also encourages 2021 growers to report their production, harvest, yield, and sales figures by responding to the USDA National Agricultural Statistical Services 2021 Hemp Acreage and Production Survey. I encourage you to do that too. I will put a link to that survey on the show page for this episode. All right, here's a story from Montana. This is on the montanafreepress.org. It says dispensaries scrambled to adjust to unanticipated CBD ban. The new law's prohibition against dispensary sales of CBD products is expected to relegate the growing CBD market to gas stations and other non-specialty retailers. The story says that the Montana Department of Revenue and cannabis industry stakeholders alike were surprised to recently discover that HB 701, the state's legalization framework bill, prohibits license holders from growing or selling hemp, and by extension, from producing CBD products that are derived from hemp. The ban additionally prohibits license holders from selling any other brand's CBD wares. The ban goes into effect January 1st, 2022, the same day recreational cannabis sales begin in Montana. Current dispensaries must liquidate their CBD inventory by that date. How about that? And here's a story that was sent to me by another hemp journalist by the name of Michael Sirac. He's a friend of the show. I've met him a few times at various conferences and workshops. And he sent me a link to a story that he wrote about his recent trip to Mount Vernon. Right, the place in Virginia where George Washington used to grow hemp. And they grow hemp again now. So I'll put a link to that story. But it's really thoughtful and well done. And he's got a few takeaways here. I'll just read through them. First takeaway. Hemp returned to George Washington's Mount Vernon estate in 2018 after a hiatus of some 220 years. Second takeaway. The estate now grows a small plot of hemp each year so that visitors may witness how laborers in Washington's time planted, harvested, and processed the plant. I'll edit that and say those laborers were actually enslaved people. Number 3, hemp had been an important crop for Washington. He used the plant's strong fiber to repair the fishing nets supporting his commercial fisheries on the Potomac River. Who knew? Anyway, I'll have a link to this story on the show page for the episode at lancasterfarming.com. And one final thing, this week, right now, today, it's the Pennsylvania Hemp Summit. It started yesterday, continues today, and will finish up tomorrow. Yesterday, I moderated a panel discussion about the resources that all farmers should know about, and it was a really lively discussion and very informative. If you are not part of the Pennsylvania Hemp Summit but would like to view the panel discussions, you can go to pahempsummit.com, and I think you can sign up and check them out. All right, so that does it for the hemp news nuggets this week. Let's get into my interview with Daniel Lirette from GrowDoc. Daniel Lirette, CEO and founder of GrowDoc. Welcome to the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks.
Good to hear.
Could you give us a quick introduction?
Yeah. So my name is Daniel Lirette, as you mentioned. I'm the founder of GrowDoc. GrowDoc is a mobile app that can help diagnose unhealthy cannabis plants. So whether we're talking about hemp or cannabis, you could have nutrient deficiencies or sometimes insects, and we're even starting to look into viral diseases, viruses, and pathogens. So that's what our goal is. It's basically the Shazam for plant problems. You'll just take a picture and get a diagnosis, and then from there help you fix it.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your background. Are you have a background in technology or in horticulture, or where did this come from?
Yeah, my background is in technology. I graduated about 10 years ago from a community college in programming and worked for a startup for over 5 years. And that's where this idea kind of came in. I was a home grower as well, had some issues growing with my plant, and then saw the potential of this AI technology to work for cannabis, and no one was doing it. And being in Canada where the research was legal, that's where I saw the potential of having government grants help cover some deficiency studies. And now we're heading on to viral diseases, viruses, and so on. So kind of that's where my background lies.
Okay. And then where do you get like sort of the diagnostic information from? Do you have a panel of experts that you rely on, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, we do. So right now, our main focus is getting those research college data. So we've got, it's called CCMB. It's the Community College of New Brunswick. They were the first on board, and they're doing calcium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, and zinc deficiencies. And then we've got Niagara College, which is on board as well. And they're kind of doing a class with their students, and they're doing the same study of calcium, magnesium, and sulfur deficiencies. And they're documenting that with images and videos. And then we've got just started on board is Colorado State University, and they're going to do high yielding CBD strains for hemp. And they're going to do phosphorus, boron, molybdenum, and manganese. And they're, again, collecting all these images and videos. And then we've got our local university here at University of Moncton that's going to start with viral diseases like tobacco mosaic virus, cucumber mosaic, alpha mosaic. So that's kind of primarily where we're focusing on getting our data. So the images and the videos, we want that as reliable as possible for the app. Mm-hmm. And as well as we do have some mentors. We have Randy Fleming and Av Singh, which are pretty big in the industry. They're helping us out, and they're always available for us when we have questions, and we kind of see what's going on in the community, and we're like these theories of the home growers, and we kind of bring it to them and see their perspective. So that's kind of where we get our information and try to have it the most credible as possible.
Okay, so you keep talking about home growers. Here in the U.S., there are some states where home grows are legal, but on this podcast, I cover mostly, industrial hemp. Sure, it right. Sort of bleeds into the larger cannabis industry. But you would see that this app would also be usable and, helpful for hemp farmers. Right.
Yes. So we're working, especially some viral diseases that are going to be happening to outdoor, like leaf septoria, and hopefully we can get phytoplasma as well. That's one that's been starting to come up and been talked about. if we could have that as well. So that's kind of our focus on those viral diseases, as well as we've collected data on leafhoppers, and we've covered well thrips and aphids, and that's where our app is really going to help with the hemp farmers.
Okay. So walk me through it. So let's say I'm a hemp farmer and I have my phone and I go to the app store and I download your app. Walk me through it. How does it work? How would I interface with it?
Yeah, you're just going to download the app, and you start off on a screen where, well, this was kind of a feature for the home growers, but we left it that you could stay anonymous, whether you're in a legal state or not. And then you just go through, and then you can take a picture. You click the camera button, and then take a picture, and then the app will return back results on what it found.
Okay, and how that is like an artificial intelligence thing that it compares with images in a database, or can you talk about how that works?
Yeah, exactly. So it is an AI, a machine learning database. That's where we're collecting that data from these research colleges, and we're collecting our own outdoor data as well. And essentially, the machine is taking the image that you scan, and it's comparing it to the thousands of images that we got in the back end to try to determine what the problem is.
Okay, and then do you then offer solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the principle of the app. So it's like you get a diagnosis, and at the bottom you're going to get visual images to compare yourself to make sure that that's the actual problem. And we've got videos, and as well as just a detailed text documentation at the bottom on what to do, preventive measures and stuff like that to treat the problem you have.
Okay. Is there any kind of like social community aspect to the app? Like, what if I'm in there? Can I connect with other growers?
At this time, no. It's just a straightforward scanning your picture and getting a diagnosis. But in the future, that's something we might consider adding on.
Okay. So how many users are on it now?
Well, right now we're approaching close to 10,000 downloads. So that's about the numbers, but most of those are home growers. It's been easier for us here. We're in Canada, and the majority of the market is home growers, and ourselves, we have home growers. We are home growers. So it's easier to collect that data. So that's kind of where we started. But as we move forward, my partner has a house, more rural area where next year we're going to try to see if we can plant some outdoor plants, and maybe if we can see what the process in Canada to get a little hemp license, and then try to collect data as well from there.
Okay. How do you make money? Is it advertising based, or what? Talk to me about the sort of the business model.
Yeah, the app is a freemium version. So basically it lets you scan for free, sort of how YouTube work. You'll see an ad for about 10 seconds, and then every scan that ad is present. If you wanted to buy the premium version that we have, that allows you unlimited scanning. We have a male to female, and as well, it'll show you a severity of the problem you have.
Okay. What kind of feedback do you get from users?
We're getting great feedback. A lot of people in the home growers community are loving the aspect that we're bringing the science to it, and we're able to show these exact pictures of what it looks like when you have a nitrogen deficiency and calcium, and we're kind of trying to do the same approach when it comes to the insects. Showing you exactly what a leafhopper looks like, because they come in different colors and all sorts of things like that.
Okay, right. So why cannabis in the first place? Like, why is this important to you and your company?
Well, this is what's really important to me. Is I've seen so much potential with hemp. I started as a home grower, and I knew it helped me have a better life because I use it medically. So just being in the industry and being in the community, I after saw the potential of hemp and hempcrete, and it's crazy in my mind that this has been illegal for so long, and there's so much potential, and it could even help with the climate change. We're bringing back CO2, we're taking it up. So that's the main mission for us. It was having that research that can help growers grow better, and really helping the local people, and the kind of the mom and pop shops of the hemp farmers that can have access to this technology and be able to use it and help them grow as well.
Right. Are you involved in the hemp industry in other ways?
No, we have a few contacts that we talk to locally. I believe there's only a few hemp farmers in our area. We had another contact, and then unfortunately they decided not to continue because there was too much product around here.
Okay.
So in our province, it's kind of a small community, and when we first started, we started just before COVID. So the idea was, well, we can go anywhere. But of course, that limited us to our travel, and we were trying to work with the local partners that are around.
Okay. From your perspective as a Canadian, on the other side of our border, what does the U.S. hemp and/or cannabis space look like from where you're sitting?
From where I'm sitting, I'm seeing we are really behind in what is going on here in Canada. Especially in our part of the region, in the Maritimes, it's much smaller. I don't see that hemp has really been adopted. When there's a new hempcrete house that comes up, there's been one in PEI, which is in the Maritime, and that's talked about. It's like a big thing, but it's like the first one around here. So when I see like the States, like you guys have, it seems like there's hemp farms all over the place, and you guys are really trying to be ahead of that. So that's kind of the view that I see from here in Canada.
Okay, that's funny because I see Canada. You all legalized at least grain hemp. Back in the 1990s. So I feel like you guys are a bit ahead of us. But maybe that's in the western provinces out on the prairie,
in Alberta and the prairies. Yeah, it's quite popular over there. Yeah.
Okay, but Canada legalized all cannabis, a few years ago? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was in 2017, yeah.
2017.
So they went ahead and allowed people to purchase. In our province, it's the government-run stores. They call it Cannabis NB, where you can just purchase cannabis legally. And they legalized as well 4 plants per household. Other than a few states, Quebec and Manitoba have their own provincial ban against it, and then there's I don't know if you've heard Toba Grow is fighting for that ban because it's unconstitutional because the federal government has allowed it. So that's kind of what's going on with legality here in Canada since it legalized.
All right, and so let me just get something straight. Once it was legalized, the sky didn't fall, the world didn't end, nobody got hurt, right?
No.
It was just everything was fine, right?
Yeah. I guess it's quite different from what's going on in America, considering it's all different states legalizing it, and us, we just went out as a whole thing. Because the only thing that really changed is on that day you have everybody that was actually stoners show up in the lineups, and the news was there to film it, but nothing else happened. There's no more reports of car crashes or anything like that. People are still going to work, stuff's still getting done. Society has remained as it was, unchanged. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there was some supply shortages soon after it was legalized, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean, people went a little bit, they wanted to try, probably, you wanted to get the experience. It was different than, having a drug dealer and have to wait and all that stuff. So yeah.
Are there other, cannabis focused apps that you are psyched about, or that you see as competition, or what's the sort of app space like on the cannabis end of things?
Well, there's a ton of apps. There's a ton of software for cannabis sales, but in terms of apps, I don't see many out there, and there's nothing that I've seen. I've seen some light meters and stuff like that, where you can use your phone to see your light, your grow light, to adjust it. And that seemed to work quite well. And I believe they're probably using some sort of machine learning as we are. But that's about what I've seen in the cannabis space.
Okay. Are you involved in the coding of the app? Are you yourself doing that, or do you have a team of coders somewhere, or who builds the actual product?
So I have the first MVP that we built that was originally coded by myself, and I run that on a website, GrowDoc.ca, where you can it's the same as the app, except you just don't have to download an app. But the app themselves, I have a friend who owns a mobile app company, and they've kind of created that for me. And I send them off the pictures and stuff, and they handle the machine learning on that end. And I'm kind of working on our own machine learning and the new features on that GrowDoc.ca. That's kind of the process. Okay.
I've met a fair amount of tech people in my life, coders and whatnot. And some of them seem to really enjoy cannabis. Does cannabis help you at all in your coding?
Absolutely.
Does it give you like access to some other part of your brain, or can you talk about coding, the intersection of coding and cannabis?
Yeah, I mean, for me, usually what hits it well is just when you don't smoke too much. Like just there's like it's like kind of how you drink beer and you get that little buzz. That's what kind of I look for and I try to get at, and then I have a cup of coffee, and then the focus is there. And then when you're writing with code, it's like kind of like writing an essay. You kind of gotta think it through, and just it's a lot of writing, and then you just try it out. But for me, like really that helps me get focused and really centered on the task that's needed. And I find that it helps me break it down more, because there's a lot of concentration on breaking down in little bits so that you could get it done. And then I find that it gives me the focus. I mean, obviously we could talk about what strains or the chemotypes that do that, but
Well, sure, if you want to shed some light.
yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's sativas. I've had green crack that I found was amazing to work on. It was almost like coffee by itself. We currently grew Maui Wowie, which I think is really great. We have Durban poison as well, and some grapefruit, and that all are about the same, and help you get focused and concentrate.
Okay. Did you have any trouble funding the work that you were doing, or how did you bring the business together? And yeah, just talk about how you put the business together.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started this off when I was working at a software company. I was working at a software company, and I made this MVP on the weekends. And by
What
the
is it? What
summer,
is an MVP? Sorry.
it's just like a prototype, the first version, just to prove that it works.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I had done. So now I had a proof of concept, and I knew it was something that's possible. So at that point, I started saving my money, working, putting some on the side for this and preparing. And I was fortunate enough to quit at that startup, and then they offered me sort of a consulting contract, where I was able to make a decent amount of money and put all that back into the app. And I was fortunate enough to have worked there long enough to have some shares in the company, and I was able to sell those recently, and that helped fund these universities like Colorado State. And that's kind of what we've been working on right now. We're a team of four, and including myself, so three other employees. I've been grateful to have found government grants that have covered them to 100%.
Wow.
So I've just had to cover cash flow, and then the government refunds the money, because this was just a part of their it's a part of their digital students for youth. So they're trying to have more youth involved in tech. And usually when youth are involved in startups like I was, then you see the potential and you understand how it could work, and then hopefully it creates more and more startups. So like that's the goal of the internship. And I've been blessed to have found those, and we have a team of four right now till for a little bit. They cover only 6 months, but that should give us enough runway to continue on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the app, you take a picture of your sick plant, it searches the database, it gives you sort of a diagnosis, and then recommends some treatment. What other features are there, or do you have like future features planned?
Yeah. Well, the other feature that we have is a male to female. So diagnosing early on the sex of the plant, that's something that we've got as well. Going into the future, our plan is more on the home growers market. We may enter the B2B market for cannabis cultivation, but usually if we were to enter that involves just in kind of creating a website where they can manage hundreds of plants instead of just a one type scan.
Okay.
And that's something that we could enter into the hemp market as well, have kind of a map view of your plants, and kind of when you take a picture with GPS, we could kind of track which plant had what disease at what location. So those are things that as we grow and we enter the market, that we'll consider adding on, if the market wants it.
Okay. How about plans for other apps? Maybe not necessarily in the cannabis space. You're going to branch out into other platforms?
No, I'm definitely on cannabis. I'm gonna stay with this one. I want to see how far I can take this, especially with the research. I know that research has been held back, and it's been illegal for so long. And now that we have the partnerships and the connections, I'm trying to push this as much as we can. Have any new virus or viral diseases that come out, I want to be able to document those and have those in the app. So this app is probably going to go on for another 5-10 years until it's really quite complete.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was like, even if I were to, the app was almost perfect, probably never going to happen. But if I were to continue on something else, I would probably jump into hemp. I have big fascination for the hempcrete and even other hemp products that can be made, and that's where I'd head into.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Do you get out to any of like the cannabis conferences? I know there's one in New York City this week. How do you market your app?
Well, right now we're marketing to home growers, and as well as I know the new season is going to come out next year for the hemp growers, and at that point we'll do some social media marketing. We're going to try to get in some the Facebook groups and forums and stuff like that. But right now mainly we're into the social medias, and that's where we're keeping an online presence.
Okay.
We would love to be at like MJ BizCons and stuff like that, but unfortunately we're on the lockdown still here, and these with COVID, and it's kind of sometimes a risk that we have to see how we manage.
Sure. I know here in the States, a lot of cannabis and hemp businesses have trouble with banking services, because of the federal prohibition, et cetera. Do you bump up against anything like that in Canada?
Yeah, we kind of, when I started this company and incorporated it, as I mentioned, I was like an IT consultant. So the bank had no problem giving me a bank account, and then it kind of switched on and there was no real review. I do know that some people started some cannabis businesses here and had some trouble even in Canada getting bank accounts. And even for us, we went for certain business loans that they weren't giving out to. We were anything to do with cannabis, they would say no. So there's still some, even though it's fully legal federally, there are still some restrictions and even some grants that prevented us from getting it because we were related to cannabis.
Okay. Do you have a sense of where most of your users are? Are they in Canada, or they spread throughout the world?
Most of our users right now are in North America. But we do spread out to Europe and a little bit of South America as well. But the majority is in U.S., Canada.
Okay, great. Daniel Lirette, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else that you want to tell us?
No, I just hope that everybody checks it out. We're really just out here trying to do the best that we can with this app, and trying to bring research to help educate the growing community, whether that's hemp or cannabis. That they do cross over, and with doing research in Canada here on cannabis flowers, and then having Colorado State do hemp, we're really going to see and be able to compare if these deficiencies and nutrient issues are matching together, which I believe they will be very close. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things to see, and we're calculating yield as well, yield losses and THC losses. So a lot of new information that we hope to bring out that people are going to enjoy and be able to further educate themselves.
Okay, and is it best for people to go to a website or just search for the app on their app store?
Yeah, either or will end up to us. Our website is growdoc.net, but a Google search now will find us, and even on the App Store, you type out GrowDoc, and you'll see the logo of the cannabis leaf with the magnifying glass.
Okay, I'll put some links on our show page on this episode at lancasterfarming.com.
That'd be great. Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. Again, it's great to talk to you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's today's show. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Hey, so I have a question for you. How are you doing? What's going on at your farm? Have you finished your harvest? What's happening? What are you thinking about for next year? Drop me a line. Let me know what's going on. Send me an email. Send it to podcast@lancasterfarming.com. Yeah. So I mentioned last week that things are in flux here on the podcast. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means things are changing. This is either the end of something or the beginning of something, or, maybe just things are shuffling. I don't know. I'm excited, though, to continue to bring you this show. So I hope you get some sort of value out of our show, because that is my intention, to create something of value that other people can learn from, can be entertained by. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, my name is Eric Herlock. I'm the digital editor at Lancaster Farming. And until next time, I will see you in the newspaper.
Industrial hemp.
This episode of the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2021 by Lancaster Farming newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show was written and recorded, edited, and produced by Eric Herlock, and any of the music you hear throughout the show, as always, is courtesy of Tin Bird Shadow.